In 2018, Vladimir Putin started his fourth presidential campaign. And in that same year, my guest today launched her fourth business book, Business, and published her 400th business book, 20 of which she researched and wrote herself. Have you always dreamed about writing a book? Well, apparently it's on many business owners' bucket list. In fact, 81% of people think about it, a combination of fiction and non-fiction thoughts. In case you're wondering what a Russian president and my guest have in common, well, while writing a book is on our bucket list, because she's been there and done that already, but interviewing Putin is on hers. She's interviewed some of the world's leading business people, government officials and politicians from all over the globe. My guest today is Jaqui Lane, founder of The Book Advisor. Welcome, Jaqui.
Thank you very much, Angela.
I absolutely loved it when I read that post of yours that says, I want to interview Putin. And I went, of course she does. And I spent 3 hours reading where and how that came from. And of course, you know, you did your first-class political honours degree or political science degree?
Yes, political science.
You're a Kiwi.
I'm an Australasian.
This is true.
I've got both passports.
And you're protected by the bubble, so you can actually...
Yeah, I think you still need an exemption to travel.
So Putin's it's on your bucket list, right?
Absolutely.
You put it out there on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You think he's going to answer? Stranger things have happened, right?
I'm pretty persistent, and this is the first of many steps to get there. Yeah, I do think I'll get to interview him.
I loved how throughout your post you've kind of established the chronology of what he did at his career at what age and what you did and when he went into the KGB and what you were doing at the same time. I kept wondering whether you'd pop out of the story being like a spy for ASIO to kind of match it, but...
Well, there was a point there when I was doing my master's degree in New Zealand where I used to go and visit the Russian consulate in Auckland quite a lot. And I was travelling a little bit, so I do think that I might have been on their radar.
Special watch list.
Yes, something like that.
And no crossover there with Trump? Russia, Trump?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay. Now, author, business book publisher, one of Australia's most noted corporate historians. Are you a grammar snob?
Very much so.
Semicolon phobia?
I've got an apostrophe phobia.
Ooh.
Yeah, I cannot abide apostrophes being in the wrong place.
Or not at all?
Or not at all.
Because, you know, the texting stuff, I go back and correct because I can't stand not having it.
So, yeah, I spell out all the words properly in text with proper punctuation.
So that's because I found online there's a lady in America who's a grammar snob, and she sets up like a fold-up table at the front of a train station
Yes,
somewhere,
I've seen that.
and has people visiting her, and she tries to explain to them what the grammar is, and she used about 20 words that I have never heard of. I didn't even want to look them up because I couldn't even pronounce them, and I thought I've got to move on. But that's your life, though, that kind of quality of writing, attention to detail. It's not just me telling you something and you transcribing that exactly. It's about forming the story in a polished, professional way.
Yeah, it's about forming an interesting story.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, an interesting story that resonates with people because facts are one thing, but facts are not who we are as people. We live and grow by stories. So it's about sharing knowledge and information through good writing.
So if we look at you and your career and your business, so we'll look at your career first. If it's been all about book publishing and corporate historian, and you wrote or put together Westpac's 200-year story.
Yep.
So that's dry.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's a bank. It's dry.
No, it's not. A bank's full of people. Westpac is Australia's oldest bank, so it's effectively the story of Australia. And then from 1712. And so there's people and livelihoods, and they've been involved in all parts of Australian life. And through creating that story, I got to meet prime ministers and presidents and senior business people, and that's the story. The facts and the figures are just there.
It's amazing, though, when we don't understand that behind the business, regardless of what the business is, there was a journey to get there, and stuff happens along the way. People intersect in that life, and 200 years, it's literally the Australian life history.
Yeah, very much so. And also, I think no story is just a straight line up. there's ups and downs, there's great times and sad times, and that's happened with Westpac and lots of businesses, in fact, all businesses, and that's just like our own personal lives. So it's very much, I look at corporate histories as very much very similar to a personal story.
So the reason I bring that up to kind of set the foundation of credibility here is that your business, The Book Advisor, you help people write, publish and sell their book.
Yeah.
And hopefully within that 12 months period is the goal, right?
Correct.
Now, there are many people who say they can help you do something, but you have done what you say you can help people do. So that's the background in that you're a corporate historian, you've written business books.
Yes.
You've helped bring to life 400
Yep.
of them in one shape or form. And that's where the credibility is. So if you say you can do it,
Yeah.
because you've done it. So do all business people have a business book in them?
No.
No. Good. I'm glad you said that.
No, they don't. And often when I'm talking to people who ring me up and want to talk to me about their book idea, that's part of why I like to have a conversation with them first, because the best thing I can do to say to somebody if I don't really think that the outcome's going to be what they think it should be, the best advice I can give them is to wait, maybe reapproach it in 5 years' time, or that their book idea or concept doesn't have enough legs at the moment.
Yep.
And that's the best advice I could give some people.
Because there are some people that think that it's writing a book about their field of expertise or who they are is ticking another marketing box.
Oh, absolutely.
And they feel like they have to have a book in order to just add it to their resume. You know, I've got a book here. And in some cases, that's really important as part of your brand building. But, you know, 2 covers on the outside don't necessarily, and some words on paper in the middle, don't necessarily have a piece of content that's going to solve a problem, give advice, be supportive, inspire, any of those pillars that might underpin what comes from a business book.
So very much that's my view. So you can create a fat business card if you like.
Yeah.
And plenty of people do.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, that's not my gig. I'm very focused on what's the purpose for the book,
Yep.
Who's the target audience and what are their challenges, and then what advice or support or actions can this book help those people with. So it's got to have a really strong purpose and reason for being.
So when you're talking to someone to begin the relationship of the book journey, right, you're already thinking 10 steps ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's meat there, there might be a book there. You're already seeing it in your head, and you are seeing the end product and commitment, which is, you know, selling it.
Correct.
And if you can't see those dots, then you literally can't help them.
Correct. And I'm very upfront about that because that's the
Harsh.
best advice
Exactly.
I can give them, because the worst outcome would someone spends 12 months working on their book and it doesn't do what they want it to at the end. And I'm the expert. I'm meant to know that. That's why people come to me. So, and also a really big challenge for a lot of people who want to write a book is they go, I've got all this knowledge, I want to share it. And I'm going, terrific, can you just park that? Now, who's your target audience? Who's going to read it? And what are their challenges? And how is your book going to help them with their challenges? And a lot of people go, I hadn't thought about that.
Because they think it's, I mean, I can't imagine sitting down and committing, you know, a day a week or 5 or 6 hours a week to writing, and my brain would immediately go, because I do a lot of reading and writing in my work, and my brain was just sitting there going, I bet I'd have a brain freeze. I bet there would be that moment that I've allocated those 5 hours to sit down and do it. I would go, I'm hungry. I want to do this. I might just watch an episode of something on Netflix. Kind of this whole denial on, you know, I can't be inspired. But let's say that I did. I rang you up and I said, you know what? I want to write a book. What are my next steps?
Right, well, the first step is to not write to start with, because that's the mistake that most people make.
Okay.
That you actually have to sit down and go through a discussion around what's your core knowledge, who's your target audience, what are their key challenges, how do you match up their challenges and your knowledge, because you can't share all of it.
This is coaching them, right?
Yeah.
This is, and they're going to have, the minimum they're going to have is discoveries
Yeah.
on their business.
Absolutely.
And where they are. Okay. So you go through that, you don't start writing yet, particularly if they've got no idea where to start. They've probably got a few insecurities about it, suddenly they're finding out, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I'm not who I think I am or who I want to be.
Imposter syndrome.
There's all of that associated with it, right?
Yep.
So you've got to, I was going to say baby, but hold their hand through that, right? Especially if they say, what if no one reads it?
Oh, I get that all the time. And the other big one is, what are my peer group going to say about it?
Judgment.
Fear factor is huge.
I'd be worried about my mother. So I know that you've commented that you held a webinar and of potential authors, and you were hearing stories about so many of them that had manuscripts in the drawer, some for 30 years.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. I mean, I hope they update it, but there's people have got something written, stuffed in a drawer, gathering dust, and ready there to go to the next step.
But they don't know what that is, and they have all these insecurities and fears, and it's about, is what I've written any good? What are people going to say about it? And usually that comes from the place that they actually haven't done that pre-thinking, if you like, because if they'd done that, they would be way more secure in knowing that what they've written is relevant, is useful, and then that allows them to move through that.
So you've got a group of people that come up with the idea or actually press the button and say, I think I want to write a book, and you'll talk them through that.
Yeah.
Then you've got a whole other group of people who've written it in one shape or form.
Yes.
And you can take them through that process.
Absolutely.
And then what about people who have already written a book, didn't do much with it, so it's still sitting in all the boxes in the garage, or they're renting a unit to store them or something?
Oh yeah, got some of them.
Can they relaunch a book that's already been launched?
Absolutely. And I'm working with 2 or 3 people right now doing that.
So that's still possible?
Absolutely. And in some cases, we've done a new print run, redesigned the cover, updated some things. So everyone seems to think, and I love books, that once you've printed a book, it's there in a book and there's nothing else you can do with it. There's a lot you can do with it. And also most people probably didn't launch and market their book properly the first time round. And so they might have only sold 100 copies. So there's, I don't know, tens of thousands of people who didn't even know it exists.
And if there's time lapsed in there, a couple of years, most likely, they've changed. They've got a different audience. The world, well, we don't need more of an example. No, the world has spun in a completely different direction. They may be even more relevant.
Absolutely.
And suddenly find. It's like when an old TV series gets relaunched, and it develops this whole new generation.
Dallas or something like that.
Star Trek. So it could be those environments, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's hope at whichever stage you're at, presuming or assuming that you've got a book in you that has the potential to do what you think it might do.
Yes, and for me the really important thing is to get out of help people work through what do I think it might do to actually getting them to look at it really professionally. Who's the target audience? What are the key marketing messages? How is this going to integrate to me and my business? What does success look like for me? So you actually treat it as part of your branding or marketing material rather than something that sits quite separately from it.
And just before we run out of time, what about the right strategy?
Okay, so that's an online program that I've been harassed by many people to create because there's only one of me, so there's only so many people I can take on. So the online program is a self-directed program using all the templates and workbooks and things that I have, and we have monthly webinars where everyone gets to have a jam session about their book and I take them through the next steps that are coming up.
So that's to help your potential authors or people that you've already locked in to writing a book?
For a whole new group of people who are more self-directed but don't know where to start and don't know, and I've got templates and checklists so they can run through that themselves.
So they can bring order to the chaos.
Absolutely. Clarity to what they want to do.
Which is always important.
Very much so.
So if you think, I want to write a book, just think The Book Advisor. Thank you so much for joining us today. You in YouTube land, you know what? You need to press the button, subscribe, like, comment and share. A big shout out to Piedmont Studio because you make us look great. To the SMEA Association, thank you for your continued support for SMETV. If you have any questions, comments, stories, anything like that, you can send them directly to me, news@smea.org.au, and of course we're across all the socials. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Angela.
Thank you.